What About Us? Chapter 8 and 9 by Coyne.
Fossil ancestors. Based on the fossils found, humans were found to be evolving from hominid primates 25 million years ago to Homo habilis 2.3 million years ago to Homo erectus 1.8 million years ago to Homo neanderthalis 250,000 years ago to Homo sapiens or modern humans 100,000 years ago to the present, which is us. About 28,000 years ago, the Neanderthal fossils vanished, and it was thought to be that they simply evolved into modern humans. However, it was found that it was incorrect, and what actually happened was that Homo sapiens apparently kicked out every other hominins on Earth. There are two theories about how Homo sapiens kicked out other hominins on Earth, and the first theory was the multi-regional theory that proposes an evolutionary replacement, which means Homo erectus simply evolved into Homo sapiens independently in several areas. Maybe because of natural selection that was acting in the same way all over the Asia, Europe, and Africa. And the second theory was the out of Africa theory, which proposes that modern Homo sapiens originated in Africa and spread, physically replacing Homo erectus and the Neanderthals, maybe by outcompeting them for food or even killing them. Genetic and fossil evidence supports the out of Africa theory, but there has been debates about it. Homo floresiensis was discovered in 2003, and the fossils were dated to a mere 18,000 years ago. This species has a posture like hobbits and small brains, which is isolated population of Homo erectus that colonized Flores and bypassed by the spread of Homo sapiens. Some people thought that the tiny size of skulls may be a representation of disease of Homo sapiens. And when we're looking at the bones, what kind of evidence do we have for human evolution? We actually have evidence of human evolutions that we evolved from ape-like ancestors. However, people cannot trace yet the continuous lineage from ape-like early hominin to Homo sapiens. So what actually happened? What happened was natural selection was actually involved in building the complexity of humans' posture anatomy.
Recent studies show that chimpanzee genes and human genes differ in about 1.5%. It seems like a small difference when about 99% of our genes are the same. However, 1.5% can make a big difference in our genes. Because 80% of human genes differ with chimp genes with at least one amino acid, that's a big difference. Even though human genes and chimpanzee genes only differ in about 1.5%, if you compare yourself to a chimpanzee, it may seem like you differ in way much more than just 1.5%. The question is, what is it that makes us so different if we only differ in 1.5 of our genes while the rest of our genes are the same? Important reasons include the presence of genes found in humans which are not found in chimpanzees. 6% of human genes are not found in chimpanzee. Also, the number of copies of genes varies between humans and chimpanzee. An example is salivary enzyme amylase. Humans have an average of 6 copies of salivary enzyme amylase gene copies. On the contrary, chimpanzees only have 1 copy of that gene. The sticky question about race. All over the world, we see different faces. Some people have darker skin, others have lighter skin. Some have diamond eyes and others do not. There is an obvious difference in phenotype expression among different groups of people that share similar characteristics. Humans only differ in the expression of our genes, like hair color, texture, skin tone, nose, and many more. Even though our genes express different phenotypes among races, recent studies show that there is not much difference in genes between races. The interesting part is that there is 10 or 15% of genetic variation difference between races and 85 to 90% genetic variation within races. All races have similar alleles, but those alleles are in different frequencies between different races. An example is blood type. Blood type O has different frequencies amongst different races. 54% in the Japanese population have the blood type O. 64% in the Finnish population have that blood type O, and 74% in the South African population. So basically, the frequency of alleles between races vary. However, looking at a gene does not tell us much. We would have to test many genes to know a person's origin. Are we still evolving? Yes, we are. There are things that we could outlive today that our ancestors could not. An example is that we have the ability to break down lactose. Lactase is an enzyme that our body uses to break down lactose early in life, when we are young, and then our body stops producing the enzyme lactase and we are unable to break down lactose, therefore becoming lactose intolerant. However, some people still have the enzyme lactase even in adulthood, mainly found in pastoralist populations. After many studies and observations, it was shown that people who were able to break down lactose had more offspring than people with lactose intolerance. Also, sanitation, medical care, and improvements in nutrition helped the fitness of the humans compared to our ancestors. They were killed by many diseases. We are going genetically downhill due to cultural change. Many resources like clinics and dentists help us make up for the bad genes which remain in the population. For example, bad eye vision. Simply get a pair of glasses. Also, such diseases such as diabetes, obesity, and heart disease are both genetic and environmental and do not respond to selection due to the fact that by the time these diseases kill people, they had already passed the reproductive age.
So, are we humans still evolving? Yes, we did evolve, and we still are. Even without fossils, there are strong evidence about human evolution from comparative anatomy, embryology, physical traits, and even biogeography.
Convincing but not convinced. After learning about evolution, many people think that it is very convincing due to evidence that scientists have provided. But they still don't believe that evolution created the world and that humans evolved from mammals. Rather, they want to believe in intelligent design. Is this due to their ignorance, or can they not accept the truth, or the evidence involve human evolution are not enough to convince them? Whichever the answer is, they cannot say that the problem of evolution is due to lack of evidence because there are countless evidence such as fossil record or common ancestor linkage trace show the evolving of evolution through natural selection, adaptation, or genetic drift. It's not exaggerated to say that evolution is a scientific fact. Many philosophers and advocates of intelligent design represented other people with the same opinion against evolutionary, expressed that evolution has raised the philosophical on moral values that they cannot accept it no matter how many evidence they see. The beast within. Criticizers on evolution believe that if we accept the facts that we evolved from mammals, then we could live in the lawless world, behave like a beast, and throw away the morality. People could act wildly and do mischief things without thinking of the consequences. However, through studying evolution, we know that even the jungle has its own complexity and origin societies of themselves within their own environment. Even though we evolved from them, we live in a different environment that favors us to develop morality and unique human behaviors. This is a part of adaptation, the major engine of natural selection, and is also applied to John Bowlby's theory, the environment of evolutionary adaptation, also known as EEA. EEA refers to the environment in which a certain adaptation has evolved. Similar to the notion of niche, this concept is important for understanding the functional organization of the human brain. And with the addition of Darwin evolution theory, we could specify the possible evolution of psychological mechanism in human behavior. Human universal. Even though humans evolved from mammals, we are unique species. Comparing with other species, the most standout differences between humans and animals are shown in sexual selection and philosophy. For example, in sexual selection, males animals show traits that make themselves beautiful and unique among other males to seduce the females, while in human population, females are the ones beautify themselves up to attract males. Natural selection has betrothed humans with a complex brain that helps us govern the universe with moral philosophy. With that brain, we can search for our roots and learn how we came about. Therefore, humans are evolving.